So you clicked on this video because you want to know if WWE Heatwave was worth your time. Well, I got some good news and some bad news. The good news, this was actually a solid show that went down easy. But the bad news, I ain't recommending this shit. Let me break down what worked, what sucked, and the one moment that had the entire crowd completely rejecting WWE storyline. Because this crowd reaction was pure comedy gold for all of the wrong reasons. Now, I had zero expectations for Lola Vice versus Kalani Jordan versus Jada Parker for the NXT Women's #1 Contender spot. But they actually followed a structure and they did solid work. This was just a standard triple threat formula. And I thought all three women worked hard. Kalani Jordan did her corkscrew planches, her handspring split stunners, and that split twist leg drop. And Parker got the crowd behind her with those loud chops, those high step splashes, and the hip attacks. It got them all chanting Miss Parker. And Lola, she brought her MMA gimmick as usual with her thrust kicks, her kick combos, and her dragon sleepers. The finish, however, felt abrupt to me with Lola's roll up. But hey, they turned filler into something watchable. I gave this one 2 3/4 stars. Next up was Hank and Tank defending their NXT tag team titles against DarkState. And sometimes you just want basic tag team wrestling executed well. And this here was just paint by the numbers tag formula. There were double suicide dives by the champs, Tank hitting that springboard shoulder tackle and that bubble bomb. Hank, on the other hand, he did his boss man slam. They pretty much didn't miss a spot. And the crowd was chanting Hank and Tank from the jump. DarkState, on the other hand, pretty much played a solid role as the heels here, with Lennox AA Spinebuster and a final Doomsday device that got them the belts. This was nothing revolutionary or anything, just solid fundamentals executed right. I give this one 2.5 stars. And from that straightforward tag match was something I didn't expect. JC Jane defended her TNA Knockouts title against Ass by Elegance and Masha Slamovich. And this shit got wild real quick. All three women were throwing everything here. Masha, for example, with her corkscrew suicide dives and that white noise cannonball combo. JC was hitting her santons off the apron in that twist and shout. And Ash with her sit down power bombs and tornado DDTs. The crowd was split between Let's Go Masha and Let's Go JC chants. And later, Fatal Influence got tossed for interference. Then the Elegance brand pulled JC out after the rolling encore spot, resulting into Ash by Elegance hitting the Swanton for the win. This match was better than I expected, and this was actually the best I've ever seen JC Jane. I give this one 3 stars. From title shenanigans to straight up brutality, Jordynne Grace versus Blake Monroe cooked here, but they were capable of more. Grace was throwing Blake around with fallaway slams on the floor and back slams on the steps that had the crowd going holy shit, while Monroe was firing back with running basement kicks and that skull-crushing finale variation into a high running knee strike. The crowd was split with Let's Go Jordan, Let's Go Bling dual chants, and also chanting This is awesome and Fight Forever. Pretty much because these two were just beating the hell out of each other. Grace sit down powerbomb from the second rope was a great spot. And that finish with the double stop on the exposed turnbuckle into a DDT, nasty work. This was a really good match, but you know that they're capable of more. I give this one 3.5 stars. Now, from a really good match came the funniest shit you will see on this show for all of the wrong reasons. Chelsea Green and Ethan Page versus Tavion Heights and Tyra May Steele had you thinking that you were in Canada like it's a Canadian stampede. But this was the complete opposite. They were in Lowell, Massachusetts. This crowd was chanting Chelsea and We Want Chelsea, who by the way is Canadian, while booing the actual American babyfaces Tavion and Tyra right out the building. Paige even had to get on the mic telling the crowd that Canada wasn't giving them any type of citizenship, trying to get them to stop cheering for the heels. And that didn't work. Every time Tyra tried to hit a spear or a German suplex, loud boos. Every time Chelsea hit a Meteor or Unprettier, the crowd went nuts. Later on, Alba Fire had to interfere with a super kick so Chelsea could win with the Unprettier, and the crowd popped huge for this. Now the wrestling, that was trash. The crowd completely rejecting WWE storyline, pure gold. 1.5 star. Now from that circus act to the main event, that's where shit got real. Femi puts his NXT title on the line against Jordynne Evans. Now the crowd was split with Young OG and Femi chants, and both guys brought it here. Evans was hitting his springboard clotheslines, rebound ranas, and that tornado DDT, while Oba was just bulldozing him with hard shoulder tackles, choke slams, and snag German suplexes. The finishing sequence I thought was dope. Oba shoved Evans into the ref, then Evans hit that Twizzler cutter with Oba's feet under the ropes. The crowd chanted bullshit when the match continued. Then Oba tossed Evans through the announce table before finishing him off with a pop-up powerbomb. This was a really good match with a great finishing sequence, plus Ricky Saints came out afterwards to stare Oba down. This was 3.5 stars. This show was pretty much the definition of a show that just existed. When your best moments features a crowd completely rejecting WWE's booking and only 2 matches hitting 3.5 stars, you got a perfectly watchable but forgettable show. Not a terrible show, but not a must-see show. Just a solid show you won't remember in a few days. This gets a 7.25 out of 10. Not recommended. Now, if you did watch this show, go ahead and keep it a buck. What did you think of that crowd completely hijacking the mixed tag match? If you enjoyed this review, go ahead and hit that like, hit that subscribe, and share this video out with your friends. And with that, I'll see y'all later.